Hey guys, welcome back to Landscaping to the Point. We are joined today with JC down at the bottom, and Josh is gone. I don't know where Josh went. He probably left in the attic and probably lost internet. So we have three people from New York today, the J&J property. Would you guys introduce yourselves? I can't know who's who here. I think Jared's in the middle, maybe. I don't know.
Yes. I'm over here.
So,
Jared.
so we have some great people. Go ahead, introduce yourselves.
I'm Jana.
I'm Jared.
And I'm Jenica.
And we are J&J Property Bros.
So where are you guys in New York at?
Good
Let's
question.
go from that.
Okay, so it's a small town, and the locals love to call it
Standstillville.
but it's really Stanfordville. So, I mean,
But when you tell anybody Stanfordville, they go, "Where the heck is that?" Even people from New York have no clue where that is. But it's tucked in between Millbrook, Rhinebeck,
Near
Poughkeepsie. So we're tucked in between a couple of larger towns that people know about.
Hudson Valley, Dutchess County.
Yeah, Hudson Valley.
Yeah.
Very beautiful area. A lot of fun vineyards and horseback riding, and just it's a fun little spot. Good hiking.
We have a client in the city,
Yes.
but we're mainly upstate. Yeah.
But we do some stuff in the city on occasion.
Yeah. A lot of times when we do say New York, people automatically think you're just in the city. And it's just not true. We're not in the city, mainly.
Bunch of country bumpkins.
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, there's always places to do. There's always stuff to do. I mean, that's the good thing.
That's for
you
sure.
know?
true.
That's
So
for sure.
what all do you guys do? I want everybody to know what you guys do. I mean, I think you've been on the podcast way back. Last year we had you on the podcast. I know just you three and me, we talked. And only one of you was talking the whole time. So, I mean, they're hiding somewhere. I know that. So
I was hiding.
Yeah, now we got him on the show. We want to talk to him. So, what kind of services do you provide? Let's go with you, Jared. Tell me what you get. What kind of services you provide?
Man, we do a whole bunch of different fun things. We do landscaping, cleaning, and pet care. So Jana started off cleaning. Jenny and I were the landscaping end, and we had a lot of the same clients. We'd always recommend each other because it just made sense. Jana's crew did an amazing job and attention to detail for inside, and we did it on the outside, and was like, hey, why are we separated in business? Let's just merge.
Because a lot of our clients work cross
Cross-reference.
clients, and so they'd always be like, what about landscaping? I'm like, that's the wrong sibling. Totally
Other
wrong.
sibling.
Or sometimes they'd ask them cleaning questions, and they're
Like,
wrong
sibling.
sibling.
So
a lot of our clients love pets. We love animals as well.
After we merged, that got added on.
Yeah,
And so we do landscaping, cleaning, and pet care. And thank God we have an amazing team. Everybody has their specialized fields. Sometimes we have the team cross-train a little bit.
Yes.
Like this past season, we had the cleaning crew come help the landscaping crew do mulching. Needs to say they appreciated
what the other team
cleaning.
members.
And then when the guys have to try to do cleaning, they're like, we love landscaping. So everybody's happy where they are. And everybody fights for pet care. Everybody wants to do pet care.
Pet
Oh
care
yeah, I bet. I bet.
So
I bet
thank God.
everybody wants to do that. Yeah.
It's a fun dynamic and no one is ever bored.
No.
We always keep
Yeah.
everyone guessing. Yeah, everyone on their toes. It's
Exactly.
good. It's good.
So now I know something about you guys, and
Uh-oh.
I
Yeah,
we're not gonna leak it.
We're getting juicy now.
Yeah. So I heard you guys like all electric. Is that correct? Battery powered all the way.
So our lawnmowers are still
I know.
gasoline, but we are getting into
Sacrilege.
robotics and they are electric. But weed whackers, hedge trimmers, chainsaws, a lot of our stuff is
We'll have some content
getting to
hopefully
be
on that soon.
Yeah, it's electric, so we're super quiet. We get to be like ninjas going in and out of clients' properties. They're like, wow, we didn't even know you were here and you're almost already done because those suckers are so quiet. So yeah, we've been integrating electric quite well.
I think it definitely has been a slower process at times than what you guys would have liked. I think sometimes supply chain issues were also a massive, like, no one would respond. They're like, yeah, that's because we don't have stuff. And so these two were poor things, like half the season just trying to get a call back.
We were super ambitious trying to go full bore with it this season, but I think what we really came down to was we don't fully know how this is going to go. And so we just said, you know what, let's get some for our property, see how it works. And so it's been really nice to actually see that it does work and that it's, I'd say, the way of the future, and that it's kind of the way things are going. So we'd like to be able to offer it in our area and be kind of the first to.
That's cool because you guys have definitely gotten a head start, like with dabbling with the electric equipment more so than some other companies have, just because of the hesitancy towards utilizing equipment like that. I know that there's been kind of a lot of back and forth. Some people think maybe it's not fully there, or it just doesn't fit their business particularly. But you guys have been rocking and rolling with it for a long time. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
thankfully we're getting
it's
there.
A lot of it is. It's kind of still touch and go, and we are learning a lot.
And you'd be surprised how many clients actually, which we appreciate. They're concerned that because of the robotics and the battery powered, is it going to take away a job from a guy who's mowing it? We're glad that they think that way, because it's like they do care about our crew just as much as we do. And the nice part is the robotics end, it would be they become technicians. So it would be, there's still stuff that has to get done, like blade change, diagnostic, weed whacking, blowing. A robot just can't do things that a human can do. It just limits them from having to ride back and forth and make lines. Now, sometimes some people love the aesthetic of the line versus the robotic mower just whips around and goes in all random directions, so it looks like it got grazed by a goat or some sheep are grazing it, which is a good look too.
Carpet,
but sometimes the aesthetic isn't quite up to the par of, let's say, a Skag 60-inch cheetah. It's just not going to do it.
They are making some robots that can create lines,
but technology's starting to catch up a little bit. It is.
It's
I don't think it's going to be a quick transition for everyone. I think it's going to be a slow little process. We found that it just makes us more efficient, gives time for the crew to do other projects.
It's safer too, in a sense that it's like you don't have to send a team member out on a tough hill, or if you're by water, you can just set the robot off and they're taking care of it. Yeah, because I think we can all say we've had some mishaps.
They're pretty hardy. Our father, we were away somewhere and we get a call, and poor guy, he managed to run over one of the robots with the truck. Now here's the crazy part. That little thing kept going. He took it out from under the truck, and he actually got good at fixing it. That's like when there's
it jumped
danger
underneath.
near, he
It
jumped
under
quick.
there. We're like, I
this thing
know about that.
It was like, there's no way it jumped under there.
It's like a tortoise. It's just slow and steady.
That's awesome.
So it's an ease of transition. We're not rushing anything.
That's awesome. Well, we have Josh that I'm going to bring him on too.
Yay.
So we're going to, Josh, how are you guys?
What's up, guys?
He is here. So we're going to switch you guys around there. There we go. We can see all three of you guys. So I got a question on this robotic mowers. Okay. I'm always worried about this because I got this. We bought one of those Roombas for our house, and we call him Bruce the Shark, because, we like to have him go around. But my question is like when he gets to the edge, he like almost goes over the edge and then he comes back. So does the robotic mowers almost go over the edge when they're mowing and then come back? Or are you like, if you're watching it, are you kind of like, because every time he comes near a sidewalk or anything, he's like, woo, and then he comes back. And I'm like, is he going to go boop and tip over into the water or what?
Here's the funny part. We have named ours Timmy and Lassie, because Timmy literally has to get rescued by Lassie almost all the time. There's always
this little robot for some reason is a dingleberry. He just can't help himself. I don't know why. Same programming, but he's like,
Timmy is in the well. Yeah.
Wow. Always in the well.
Those are great nicknames.
No problems. No problems with her, but Timmy's special.
So it does happen. You can set the wire.
Yep, and they're supposed to, they just kind of to sense the wire, go a little bit over it, and then back away they go, and it's a random pattern, and they just bounce off of the wire that you put in the ground. You put your edge around your property. They now have EPO systems, or I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but GPS trackers, and again, all the different companies have so many different products now. You don't even, running a wire is starting to be obsolete. The problem is GPS signal and all that jazz.
How did you guys go about selecting the particular one that you wanted, just because there are so many different companies? Like what stood out?
Glad you asked. No, if you want to go for it. That was a good question.
The full story? You guys want the full juice?
Yeah.
It might take an hour, but we'll handle it.
It's like, we'll let you start. Go ahead, Jen. Let's condense.
At Equip Expo, we found a group that kind of was doing something like, they're already doing our idea that we had, and they were working with a particular company, and it was like, oh snap, instead of rewriting the wheel, let's just do what they're doing. Let's use their program. And they're like, oh, they wanted landscapers to jump on board. Needless to say, unfortunately, they were a little bit of a startup and stuff was just in disarray. The salesperson was not accurate information. We ended up learning a lot of stuff on our own, spent a lot of money for, we learned a bit. And mistakes are great because you learn from them. But this poor company, I don't think they're any longer a business, or they got absorbed by something else. So their program, which was a great idea, wasn't run efficiently. So we're probably going to try to execute it the way it should have happened for our clientele. But it was good learning curve. You got to see some mistakes, and you're like, all right, let's not do that.
So a tip would be, I think they played on our ambition of, we're like, hey, yes, we really want to do this. We want to get into robotics. And it was like, here, start with 10 mowers.
Yeah.
And in our minds, we're like, okay, because this should work. And they walked it through with us. We had gone on some chats and they said, we'll train you. It should definitely work. It should definitely work in your area. And
they hadn't seen our area.
Yeah, we're all shale, rocks, and cliffs.
And we kept telling them, we're like, we have steep
your robot's
hills.
gonna die.
Right.
Well, they also found out when they came out for training that, wow, we're not used to this kind of beast of land that you have. And yeah, so it was a great learning experience.
Yep.
We would definitely recommend. It's like, go slowly, ease slowly into it,
and
make sure you have resource around.
There's a menu of different robotics companies out there, so just talk to different representatives. And actually, communication. If a company can't communicate, they might have a phenomenal product, but if you're never going to have anybody there to fix it or to communicate with, you're just wasting your time anyway, unfortunately. So communication, if the company's communicating and wants to work with you, that's primo. But anything less than that, it's just going to be a headache.
Yeah,
Josh, you're all about that communication with companies. Like, yeah, I think that's a good point that you bring up. I know Josh feels strongly about the communication and the networking and all that when it comes to things like that. So
it's important.
Yeah. What's up, Josh?
Yes. Yeah.
So I got another question. I know that this is going to continue for you guys with the robotics. So do you guys go out and talk to it nicely?
wait, I have talked to the robot.
I try to
I
talk
can see you. I can see you. I mean, I can see you doing that too.
Please, Timmy, come on, don't die on us, please.
Don't die, Timmy.
Yeah, smacking it, picking it up, moving it around. Yeah.
I use some language that I probably shouldn't.
No, sometimes I walk by and you're like, oh, hey, Timmy, what's happening?
I just am like, good job, buddy. Good job.
You're like, you're doing great out there. Good job. Keep going.
Lassie, always a good job. Good job, babe. Good job.
Yeah.
Again, it does work. It's a small thing, and you kind of think to yourself, how is this going to work? And that was our big question when training was happening.
It shockingly works.
But
we have acres, and these two guys are just cutting it without a problem every day.
24/7.
In rain, sleet, no snow, thank God. Rain, sleet, or whatever.
Right.
No snow, thank God, not yet.
I still think it's funny you name them. It's like you have a favorite child amongst the mowers.
Right.
It's amazing that the one that we named the boy robot is messing things up and the girl robot's doing fine because it's what happens.
Oh, yeah. So you guys recently went over to England, correct?
Yes.
We did.
Okay. So how was that running your business being gone for so long? Because I know you guys were gone for quite a bit.
We played hooky for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
We've never done that.
And that technically was an experiment kind of to see how the crew would do. And we haven't done that since we were young.
I can't even remember.
I think we were kids. But when we started working, we were young. I was like
summers, I think, always
14
meant
to 16.
Yeah, summers meant
work.
Karate camp.
Just work.
Yeah.
So we haven't done this in over a decade, where in the summertime you got to spend any time. It meant work. It didn't mean vacation. It just meant hustle time. So it was very nice after a decade to be able to be like, yo, thank God we have. This is true. We have an amazing team. Let's see what happens if we just step out of the picture. And to be honest, they did better than when we're here. So
Yeah,
it was
they
like,
killed it.
thank God we're getting to the point, hopefully someday, where we're just in the way and we just have to get out of the way. That's the goal.
We did have
Right.
a horticultural vinegar debacle.
Oh,
debacle.
2
but
days into the UK.
if you want to hear that story.
We're like, oh,
Yeah.
everything's going smooth. It's just fine. And we get a call from one of the guys, Joaquin. It's a bunch of family. So he was like, hey, I know he's not telling you this, but I got to tell you, Hector, he got a 2nd-degree burn on his hand. I'm like, what? Horticultural vinegar.
And
he was using the
we
backlight
always
sprayer
tell
to
the guys,
kind of-
like, put your gloves, do all the things.
We're
We're
Right.
like, it is no joke. It is like acid.
It will burn you.
burn you.
And so he went to repair it without gloves on, and the thing shot
There was a
acid
malfunction.
on his hand. And he didn't say anything, and so he got tattled on by one of the other guys as we're in the UK. So we give him a call. We're like, "What are you doing? Go to the doctors. Go to get that checked out." So he was down for a little bit, but thank God the rest of the team just
They were able to-
compensated and they kept on rock and rolling. But that was 2 days
So
in,
the
and that
team-
was like, we go
Oh
for
my
2 days.
God.
It was like, oh, hell
You guys are probably already like, I got to get the flight back. We got to go back literally tonight. We're booking it now.
The Seagulls were like, screw that. Let's jump on a plane.
Again, we were actually
Yeah.
there. What got us there was a friend's wedding. So we were cooking and doing all this stuff for a friend's wedding. So we were like, okay,
Catering.
like we just need to
Because
make it
we
to
had
her
a
wedding.
we had a catering business back in the day.
In a
We don't do
previous
that
life.
anymore,
Yeah.
but for her, we were gonna do it. So we got to play chef and cater and do bartending.
And it was a small wedding. It was like 12 people. It
So
was,
we're
cool.
grateful for her getting us out there. And
Yeah.
then we just got to spend the rest of
and
the
it
time.
was a
as
great
friends.
experiment and experience.
Yes.
Nice. I'm glad you guys had a great time over there. What was the biggest thing that you guys seen over there? I mean,
Man,
It was
there was a
big.
lot.
There's a lot.
There is so much.
We only
history.
spent like 1 day in
We were
London.
in Devon, which Devon is known for their clotted cream and scones, which was delightful. It was very good.
I think
Um,
because we kind of got to see a lot of just all of it. I mean, we went to Bath and we got to see these Roman baths, these ruins,
Yeah.
but not really. Like everything's still pretty much working. It just shows you the
What was built?
innovation in construction back in the day, and it's just amazing to be able to
History.
step back
We were
in
in
history. Like,
Oxford.
yeah, I mean,
and-
Oxford. You walk through these streets of how many famous minds and thinkers, and you're just like touching just the buildings. I'm over there touching the buildings. Like, how many people have walked there? Everybody's like, "Come on, Jana, keep going."
A pub,
history.
a pub from the 1500s. You
Yeah,
know?
1200. Yeah, it's like
1200s.
1200s.
You know,
It
Oh.
went to one of the oldest pubs. Yeah, I mean, a lot of history. It was very
A
cool.
lot of beautiful countryside. Just kind of jumped in a vehicle and
Countryside.
just get lost for a little bit. Just keep driving. Went to Wales for a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was. Thank God we had some friends who were able to give us a tour over there.
Yeah.
So it was a good time. It was
Thankful
a good
for some
time.
really good friends.
Yeah.
so how many
very
whales
great.
did you see in Wales?
That
There
was
we go.
good.
Unfortunately,
Yes.
South of Wales. There's a whale of a time.
There's no whales over there. See, now I'd be upset if I went all the way to Wales to look for whales and didn't see
So
them.
get out of here.
We had our binoculars
It
out.
wasn't. We
I don't-
did
yeah.
this season for
I'm
it.
still
It wasn't
fascinated for the fact that they said that they used to have a catering business. I want to know
Yeah.
between the three of them who's the better cook.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Pick of these two.
No.
No,
Pick these
I
two.
think we kind of all have our.
specialties of what we do.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much
Jared-
the sous chef. I can cook
No,
as I'm getting yelled at.
No. Jared actually did the fried chicken for the wedding. She had
We
requested.
mimic
fried chicken.
Popeyes.
Yes.
Okay.
And so-
She had always
Nice.
said, she's like, I want Popeyes or something for my wedding. We always joked around, and then we said, well,
Years ago.
we can make this happen. So,
because she couldn't find a caterer over there, and it was a whole thing, and that's how we.
so it's good.
And Jared makes
He did
mean
it.
fried chicken.
He did it.
I do okay.
He can
I
do it,
okay.
guys. He could do it.
Well, the girls are better cooks by far. By far.
I don't know about that.
Nice.
How
So-
about you guys? What about
Yeah,
you?
who
Jane,
cooks
yeah,
here?
come on,
Come on,
guys.
Jen.
I cook every once in a while.
Yes,
Josh does. I
Josh.
mean,
You know,
JC, I think cooks every once in a while. I don't know about him.
I have to survive.
JC's a master chef. We all know
yeah,
this.
come on, tell us your specialties. Let's
Oh,
hear
God.
them.
Come on, guys.
That's macaroni and cheese
Oh, stop it.
That's a staple, though.
I make
In a
cereal-
microwave.
in the mic.
Yeah.
Donna makes a mean mac and cheese. If
Oh.
you like truffle
I
cheese,
do like a brown butter
a
garlic
Gouda,
truffle mac
yeah.
and cheese.
a brown butter garlic.
I make cereal and toast. But yeah, guys, we gotta hear this. Besides
Josh?
mac and cheese, come on.
Yeah,
I
Josh,
know you
come
guys
on.
can cook.
Yeah.
Josh cooks. I think he's
Josh cooks. Josh cooks. Tell us what you cook, Josh. What's your specialty?
I don't know. I do lasagnas. I do stews.
Oh,
veggie dish. I mean, you name it, I try. I mean, it's funny because when I was dating my wife, I couldn't cook for the life of me. I couldn't even microwave anything, right? It was like my grilled cheeses were put the bread in the toaster, take the cheese, put it in the microwave with the bread, and take it out in enough time. When I met my wife, I was trying to be fancy and cook a steak, and I go, you know what? People use alcohol on steak. Smeared off sour apple vodka, poured it in there. She comes out. She goes, "What the hell did you put in the steak?" So now I know the different seasonings, taste, all that stuff. I really didn't have the variety of stuff, but I mean, honestly, I experiment with anything. It's not always good, but I got to try it once.
I would say
That's the fun thing.
experimenting is always key. Just not being afraid to just have at it and just see what
Where
happens.
they say cooking is an art, baking is a science, because it's true. It's like cooking, it's an art. You just try things, throw things in.
Yep.
Baking, on the other hand, you do kind of need to be exact, which
I'm not sometimes.
you're pretty good. You're pretty good.
And it just happens to work.
Well, it works
Or-
better than I could
or it
ever do.
hasn't.
I can't bake for the life of me. It's not my.
Yeah, you just got to put it together. Really, just throw it together and
There's just some
Try
things
it.
that are not meant
Like,
to
look
be.
at the box.
You know,
look at the box. Yeah.
I'm terrible at taking directions. I like freestyle. What can I say?
Like, yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that, Jared. I mean, I feel like it's when I cook a steak, it depends on what I feel like, and sometimes I'll put barbecue on it, seasoning on it. I'll put salt and pepper. I could put Italian on it if I want a little bit of Italian dressing into it. There's just so much you can do with it, and that's what you learn. I mean, you learn from how you cook it, and then once you learn that, you try to mimic it every time if you can.
yeah. But it's a good one.
Like,
You're
that
like,
was
"Ooh,
good."
I should have written that one down.
Speaking
Bro,
of,
I never knew how much you could do with paprika until like last year,
Oh.
and what you can season. I was like, oh my god, I missed out on so
Exactly.
much for so long.
Yes.
You know what?
yes,
Coriander too.
coriander.
Yeah.
See, I
Love
thought paprika just turned
coriander, but-
stuff red.
I missed what did JC say?
I said I thought paprika just turned stuff red.
Actually,
say, like, a
smoked paprika too. Have you?
Yeah.
Is that change your life?
Oh, it will.
Well, because for my life, it was salt and pepper. Salt and pepper. That was it. Barbecue sauce, and then on my chicken, it was like Italian dressing, like in a Ziploc bag, and have someone cook it. But like now, the seasonings, like I actually put them in my hand and try them. And
Rosemary.
Not crazy on rosemary. It has to be very minimal. Rosemary is a lot for me.
It's okay, yeah.
Okay.
And it can be. It definitely
Time
can be.
to- yeah.
Got to put in the time. You know?
Put in that.
I will say I do set up the Thanksgiving dinner. I do the turkey.
Oh,
Tell us
JC,
more. Tell
come
us
now.
more. It's coming up.
Let's hear it, JC.
I mean, it's no
Yeah.
secret recipe, but I use the paprika. I thought it was just for coloring. I actually take oranges in orange slices and put it under the skin. I don't think that's like that, with butter, and I season butter in it, and I put the butter in there, and I put thyme, rosemary, cracked pepper, salt,
Fancy.
some other stuff too. But
Nice.
yeah, it comes out pretty good.
Now, the
Magic
key,
sauce.
JC, you do not overcook that poor bird, do you?
No, oh no, I'm always checking the temperature
Okay.
on it, making sure it's perfect. Yeah, it comes
Because
out.
some
good.
people like to kill that bird twice.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
No.
Plus, turkey
Show some
gets a bad rap, and it's like turkey. It's such a
It's such a
beautiful,
great bird.
delicious bird.
Yep.
It really is.
Yeah.
It gets a bad rap, but you
Well,
have to cook it right.
It's like overcooking a ribeye. It's sacrilege. That animal died
Yeah.
for you. Don't make it
Has-
die.
Has anyone tried frying?
Oh,
It
turducken.
looks too dangerous.
Yes. I've done deep frying. Yeah.
God, we know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's a lot faster and a lot easier. I think definitely is. I mean,
it's
I've never
unhealthy.
blown
It's
nothing up
unhealthy.
yet,
That's for
We
but
sure.
haven't tried it. We haven't
Yeah.
tried
Does
it.
it taste great?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, because you inject it.
The simple
You know,
answer.
so
Yeah.
you inject it with some good seasoning and
Use avocado oil. It's a lot healthier. It's a lot cleaner. So like a lot of people use canola oil, and like you taste it. It's just too much. That avocado oil just burns off a little bit, and it just cooks stuff just right. So try that. Try a good one though.
Yeah.
That's
I've even smoked a turkey before.
oh. Ooh.
Yeah, I hit it on with my car, but it went all over. the place.
Nice.
Heck yes. You know, nothing tastes better than
So
pre-tenderized.
Yep. I tenderized it real good. So threw some salt and pepper on it and cooked her up.
Yep, I've done that a few times.
We need to cue the sound effects. We need to do the
So
great.
when you guys combined your business, how hard was it for you guys to get all the different businesses together? And
thank God for a great accountant, because we had a mess going on
I was just gonna
beforehand.
say,
We thought we had an okay accountant prior, and then we started learning things and reading things and doing some research, and I would ask him questions and he was not too well versed. I'm like, oh my goodness, we're signed up with a guy that probably knows a little bit less than I do, and I don't know that much, so we're in trouble. So by the grace of the Lord, we found an amazing guy, and he was like, wow, you guys have disaster on your hands, and we need to just exit everything and start from scratch. You guys are going to merge. This is a perfect opportunity to rebrand yourselves. So thank God we had a mess, and then we had a great accountant, and I will say
we highly recommend.
Life-changing, because when the IRS or anybody else wants to have a conversation, you just give it to the accountant, let them have at it, and then you can focus on your business.
Focus on doing what you do best. They do what they do best. Yeah.
It's worth paying it to not waste your time trying to play games with the IRS, because they'll have you on the phone for hours and you're just wasting time.
And as you grow and expand, it's just good to have the team around you, and the team meaning your accountants, your lawyers, all the different things. It's just good to have. Good to have.
that's awesome. And the chicken. You got the chicken.
Oh, we do. We do.
We do. Just a few. Just a couple.
Just a few,
Poultry on the porch, you know?
Poultry on the porch. Yep. Fresh eggs.
I know you guys do other things besides all of them services. So I see you putting on fancy gowns and trying different outfits on. And
Jared.
I like to show off my hairy legs every now and again. I like to break them out, you know?
Jared,
I know. It's all right, Jared.
Makes everybody do a little.
Yeah.
No, thank God. I kind of stay out. Or try to. I get dragged in.
Dragged in all the time. I'm like, oh, Jared, you have this nice outfit here. Wear this. Go stand over there, and we're gonna take some pictures. Okay?
We have friends that are like, oh, they talk about stuff that I'm like, how did you know? And they're like, do you not have Instagram? And I'm like, no, I don't. And they're like, that explains a lot.
We love that outfit on you, Jared. Jared's like, what outfit? What?
Nope. Unfortunately.
So you ain't seen the recent one, Jared? Sorry.
What? Should I know anything?
No, it's good.
Scared?
It's good. Don't be too afraid, okay?
Good Lord.
Poor Jared. Poor Jared. Hey, wear this. Jared, blink twice if you're okay.
He's staring.
He has two sisters. Okay. He's in a very female-dominated family.
That's okay.
And this poor man.
No, I will say thank God for that. It keeps me. It's a blessing, because I think I'd be in a lot of trouble. Having sisters definitely. It helps. It definitely helps. It's a balance.
There's nothing wrong with it.
But Sims & Co is more of our fashion creative.
Is that recent? Did you?
You know what? It kind of
been
had
on and off.
It was more of a rebirth again this year. It started like right before our mom had passed away, and so when she did, it was kind of like all that creative everything was kind of just like it took a back seat.
Even our landscaping took a hit.
Yeah,
it was like,
and it just kind of was like, oh, I just need to process this for a second. And then I think this year
she had always wanted us just like do all these things.
Oh, yeah. Do it. You know, you like this creative stuff. You should just pursue it.
So to pick that back up again, and then thank God seeing the business start to be more successful and
doing
grow.
what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, it's kind of an homage to mom, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. The original J&J's, our mother and our father, Joseph and Joanne. So the original J&J's. And then they had three psychopaths. That
decided to name a business after them. You know?
Three country bumpkin psychopaths. So
that is awesome. You guys do great with everything that you guys are doing. And
that's thank you.
Do you guys carry this energy like all the time? Like, I've never met siblings that just vibe the way you guys. Like, I almost envision it like the camera goes off and it's like, fuck you, I'm done. But like, maybe it's just the people I'm around, but I'm like, dude, I love this energy so much.
It's so funny because sometimes our friends, like when we're tired too, we actually just take it another level of psycho. So we're like, yeah.
Because we're exhausted.
Yeah, because we're exhausted. So it's like we still do.
So we hype each other up.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean, again, people will sometimes think, oh, they're so nice. And that's not true. We want to be kind. But they find out real quick that we're not
so like,
nice.
don't mistake our kindness for niceness. Yeah.
We
so
do
like,
want to be kind, but we're not always nice. And like, even we have disagreements and
Oh, yeah, of
discussions.
course. Yeah.
But most of the time, what you see is what you get. We're just crazy all the time.
But yes, Josh, sometimes that does happen where it's like we each have a different way of coming about something.
Right.
And we're all, no, this way.
And it is
And then in the end, we go, oh, we were all thinking the same thing. We were just going to go about it a different way.
I need a minute, or I'm more introverted.
Yeah, so when it comes to business, it's like, oh,
they're like, oh.
And then, like, if for the crew, if something goes wrong, Jana gets told first because like, oh, Jana's a little nicer, and then it's me, and then there's main boss lady, mommy, and they're like, is she gonna scream at me? And it's like, no, she's not.
Like
maybe
the guys had a mishap with the truck, and I was home, and they were like, oh, Jenna. And I'm like, yeah, Jenica's been trying to call you. And they're like, oh, we didn't get it.
They were really quiet.
Yeah. And they pretty much told me first.
Big old bang on the back of the truck.
It was brand new.
Brand new.
Oh,
Jeez.
guys, nobody got hurt, right?
Yeah, as long as nobody lost any fingers, it's like, don't care.
Just like, just you tell Heffa, bye. And it was like, great, thanks, guys.
So thank God everybody was okay. But yeah, they were. I think they're definitely more afraid of these two than they are of me.
No,
we told them like, as long as you weren't hurt, like that's okay. That things happen.
Thank God for siblings. And again, we were homeschooled, so it kind of created this dynamic because we had each other, and our mother was pretty much like get along or die.
Yeah.
So
like,
those were your
each
options.
other.
Those were your options.
Yeah.
So my question to you now, Jared, because you're the only boy, how many times did they dress you up and tell you to go outside?
Too many times to count.
Wait, there are some stories
that Christmas.
Before I
was
came
in a
along.
tutu, and I'm like, all right, sure, why not?
No, you actually fought me on it, and Mom
For about 5 minutes.
and we were like wrestling, and they did the whole like come downstairs because we were at our grandma's house, and we all run down the stairs, and poor thing was like, I don't want to wear a tutu, and Mom was pretty much like, leave your brother alone.
It builds character and is a precursor to the kilt that I get to wear when I'm in Scotland.
You have to share the story.
Yeah, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Plant. There was the plant, and you had the soil. You framed Jared.
Oh,
this was before I came along.
This was before they let me on the gardening crew, and I just decided that Jared was sitting near a plant, and
you two were how old? Though?
he was maybe like 1.5, 2, and I was like
3.
maybe 4.
Yeah,
something like that.
And so I saw him, and I'm like, oh, this plant near my brother is great because I'm like, oh, buddy,
diabolical.
Put your hands in it. Go ahead. I'm like, isn't that fine? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like putting it, and I decided to put all the dirt on him. I literally went like this.
She spread the dirt throughout the house.
This.
Wow.
And then I go running to our mother, and I'm like,
had me
Mommy.
sitting there holding the dirt. She goes, don't put it down. I'm like, okay.
And I'm like, Mommy, look what he did. And he's got dirt all over. She's like, Jared. And I'm like, ta-ta.
And I will say that at that young age, I'm like, I'm no snitch. And I was holding on to it. And I was like, touche. I'm about to get a butt kick, but touche. And that wasn't the first time. It happened many times. I'm like, I should probably stop trusting this one.
Right.
But we got over it.
Yeah.
And it's now quite hilarious. So
That's amazing.
thank
That's
God for
amazing.
sisters. Thank God for sisters. Builds character.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it.
Sisters.
Wait a minute. Did you guys have
siblings,
sisters? Come on.
I do have a sister. I have a sister that's younger than me, 13 years younger than me, and then I have a brother that's 14 years younger than me. But I was the fourth grandkid in my family, and there was 3 girls before me, and then 3 girls after me before another boy came around. So
Wow.
I was the only boy for a while there.
So you get it. You get it.
Yeah. And it was pretty much, I hung around with my 2 cousins, which are one's a year ahead of me and one's less than a year after me. So literally, it was pretty much I hung around my aunt more than anything with them 2. And it was like I was the only boy, and going places, they would be to my aunt like, man, you got 3 kids right in a row. Are they triplets or what? You know, and she's like, no, this one, the boy's not mine. It's my nephew. It's not mine, you know. But I was always around, so yeah. So I grew up that way. So
you get it. You get it.
Yeah,
And it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
We get that.
Yeah, there's nothing bad about it. Yeah, you get used to it. I mean, I played with Barbies pretty much most of the time, you know. But you know,
Thank God I
still have my GI Joes. You know. So.
See, I would always interrupt. They'd be playing with their Barbies. I'm like, come on, y'all know that G.I. Joe would be dating Barbie. Get Ken out of here.
Right, yeah. Ken was huge, and I had this little GI Joe. Like, hey, look at this guy. He's got it. He's
He's awesome.
he's
Come
small,
on.
but he's got it.
He's a man.
Yeah.
He's a short king. Let's go.
Yeah. Look at him. He's got a truck. He's got guns. I mean, he's got it all.
Let's go.
Ken don't got any of that. Like, come on.
That's what I was trying to bring up, but they never believed me. What's he gonna do?
Yeah.
Josh, I think you had said as well, sister.
I have a sister. Well, yeah, I have a full sister, a half sister, and 2 half brothers. I grew up with my sister, my mother, my grandmother, my cousin. I have my wife. I have 2 daughters. So it's consistent through the life. At one point, it was all of us and then 2 female cats, and I was just like, "What the hell?" But jeez. So I've been outnumbered my entire life. So.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. How are those
There you go.
testosterone numbers?
I was
Are
gonna
they
say all the
keeping them
estrogen.
up? That estrogen.
I've it's funny because like everybody's telling me like you don't know what it's like when you're menstruating. I'm like, yeah, I'm 38 years old. I've been through it. I've felt it, so I know the signs. Like, listen, I almost feel it. So it's
You're like, I know before you.
You're like, hey.
yeah, I know it. I know when the storm's coming.
Yeah,
But-
poor Jared.
Yeah. You'll learn.
Yeah.
But I was dressed up. I did. I remember being younger. I was in the full dress and heels and the little Easter hat and the makeup. And my mom came home and we were like, "Hey!" My mom lost her fucking mind. Like lost her mind. Like my sister was like beaten for that. She didn't leave the house for like a month. We were like, "Dude,
Yo.
chill out!" Like, holy crap.
Thank God, Mom did protect my masculinity. Thankfully. So she was like, she let it go only so far. She's like, he'll go with whatever. But then at some point she was like, no,
Leave him
he is
alone.
a son, not a daughter. And I'm like, thank you, Mom.
It's funny because as a dad now, I can't tell you how many times I've had my nails and makeup done. It's like, hey, Mom, look at me now.
If I have a daughter, I'm probably gonna
Do the
nails
tea
painted,
parties.
tea party. It's boys.
You
and
have
girls are just
have
different.
no choice,
No.
choice in the fact. Like you're a girl dad. It comes with the territory.
So a good friend of ours, he was on the landscaping crew for like 5 years. He's like a brother. He's now a farm manager. He's been doing that for probably 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Great job, super happy. He has 5 girls, not counting his wife and his
And
female.
most of
puppy
the
dog.
animals were female as well. Yeah.
We finally just got two boy cats.
So
So
now he has 2 boy
5
cats
girls.
to balance out, and now he doesn't want to chop their little giblets off because he's like, now they're gonna lose their giblets, and the testosterone levels will go back down.
Yeah.
I got a male dog. He's 5 months. Jensen's met him. He's 5 months old, and I'm the same way. We're like, we're gonna get him neutered. Now I'm like, no, we're gonna leave him. He's gonna get that testosterone. Like, no, he's staying. Those are staying.
What kind of a dog?
It's a black lab Rottweiler mixed.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
gotta be too cute.
Oh, he's adorable. He's adorable. He's my buddy.
Dog must be getting big now, man. The last time
We got him at 11 weeks. He was 26 pounds. We checked him in at 4 months and he was 45 pounds. So he's got an appointment Sunday. So I'm going to say it's probably around like 65 pounds right now. So between the 2 breeds, the Rottweiler and the Lab, when we brought him to the vet, they said he'll probably max out about 110 pounds, 27 to 30 inches tall.
Oh
Big boy.
man, that's a lot of
Yeah.
food right there.
What's his name?
Jinx.
James.
Jinx. It's Jinx, and then we got a cat named Lucky. So
Oh, perfect.
Nice.
That's really
That's epic.
Yeah,
That
love
is
it.
epic.
Okay.
Love it.
good name.
That's great.
Shoot. 110. How much is that going to be in feed? How many pounds of feed a day is that?
Yeah,
Man,
what diet?
like,
What's his
10
diet?
pounds.
I didn't realize like the cost of dog food was going to be so high. Like I think right now, like just right now as a pup, like I'm probably at like $120 a month, and I know, and that's at 65 pounds, and that's just with the kibble. That's not wet food or anything like that. So we did the math, and it's almost worth just like kind of making like meal prepping for him and going through, because when he gets to 130 pounds, he's at 3 cups a day. I can't imagine that he's going to be doing like 5 cups a day, 3 times a day. So he's 6 cups a day right now, and he probably could do more.
Oh man,
Might as well have another kid.
No, my wife said that the other day. She's like, I think we made a mistake. I should have had a kid. I was like, what is wrong with you? Another kid?
Yeah, see, that would have been better. Jeez.
Might get that boy.
Dogs can't work. You could put the kids to work to make some money.
Dude, I just went on a college tour with my oldest. My youngest is in middle school. I'm done. I see the light at the end of the tunnel, bro. Like, I am good. I'll buy kittens and puppies the rest of my life.
How is your heart feeling though? Because if she's gonna go, that's like college. Next level.
Yeah,
at college, yeah, like go. I'm there. I'm ready for the.
You're cool with it. You're like, bye.
Yes and no. I mean, that's my baby. That's my firstborn. So it's hard. It's surreal walking into a university, going, holy shit! Like, you're graduating next year and you're going to be living on campus. And it's like, wow, like I literally walking in the door. I'm like, I can remember her 2nd grade graduation from the school she transferred from. I'm like, holy crap! It's just, it hasn't hit me, so it's still kind of like she's this little kid, and now it's like, oh man, like college, like
wow.
I mean, she wasn't doing half the shit I was doing at 17, so like that's a plus. My only worry is like now she's gonna go to college and it's gonna be like, yeah, like let's go. So I'm like, oh man.
I'm sure you've raised her right.
I'm sure.
Yeah, she'll be a good example.
She's a good girl. Well, part of me's now like I should have homeschooled her. I'm gonna homeschool you for college. Let's go.
I should have homeschooled.
Yeah. We talked about that years ago, because homeschooling got like it wasn't such a big thing when I was growing up, but it's become so much more common now.
It is.
Our mother did it when it was not popular.
It was so weird to homeschool when our mother decided to.
And we were like,
God bless her. Yeah, she.
Well, it's crazy because when I was growing up, it was like, well, we had a few kids in the neighborhood. I'm like, those are the kids that don't go to school. Those are the weird kids. And now it's like a lot of people. But the way that these people say now, it's like it makes a lot of sense, because if you look at the curriculum in public school, it's push, 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 push.
Yep.
Like they just try to push it out. So it's like half the time the kids they're passing and they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yep.
Like I know a lot of guys that have homeschool their kids, like to say, hey, we're gonna go part-time and we're gonna teach it, and the kids know more than most public school kids know.
The key is it's almost an unfair advantage because you have focused attention now, and if the parent can't do it, you can just have someone who specializes in and help your child through that. So it's almost, I don't want to call it an unfair advantage, but because it's not, the parents care. And like a famous homeschooler once said, he goes, you're going to be brainwashed somewhere. Might as well be in the comforts of your own home by someone who cares about you.
Right.
Someone's going to try to brainwash you somewhere.
Best intentions in mind and at heart, yeah.
So it's like at a certain age, you end up just teaching yourself, because you have to learn to love to learn. And if you think you're done learning, like, oh, I've reached this point, I'm done learning, you've died already. Yeah. There's always something to learn. Always, you can't possibly know everything in one lifetime. Man, we wish we could live 900 something years and still couldn't learn half the stuff I want to learn. Yeah. Yep. But it gives you a passion for learning and just paying attention. Like, you can learn from good experiences, bad experiences, just everything. Everything's a learning experience.
Travel and just
travel definitely.
Educate yourself.
Homeschooling just allows more freedom too. Like, you're not set into the time frames. You can do this amount of work and you can do this amount of work, or
finish school early, or you're
done at 14. Because let's say it takes someone a little longer to learn something. Like, whereas if you're going to public schools or you're going to class, like everybody's, they're moving on to the next subject. If you're lacking behind, then you have to still continue catching up with them. So yeah, I can see that. And I think it's probably a lot easier nowadays to enroll in homeschool. And I think if they do it online and everything, right?
And you work with your district, and it's not that hard. I
think a lot of
it quite easy.
What our mother did, thankfully, was she was a school teacher down in the city, and she saw the politics of everything. Kids were doing terrible things. She couldn't correct anything. Kids learn differently, and she couldn't take the time to teach someone because she knew that they could only learn in such a way. So mom was an art teacher, but she was like, I don't want my kids to do this. I'm going to do this myself. And she grew up
better.
French, Canadian, Native American, Catholic nuns were her school teachers, and they slammed her head up against chalkboards and made fun of her because her first language was French. She didn't speak English. Yeah. And even that, her French was a little weird because of indigenous in there. So it was its own version of weird hillbilly French, they called it. And she just wanted to do something different. And she goes, I know it sounds weird, but we're gonna have a go of this. And Dad goes, whatever you want, honey, let's go. And so God bless her. It was a lot of sacrifice, and
We
there
each
was
learned differently.
the technology wasn't what it is now. Now technology,
Right.
I mean, homeschooling is it's a smart thing to do in my mind.
It's easy. It's so
Right.
much
A lot
easier
easier.
now than it was, definitely, because it's right at your fingertips.
John, I think we interrupted. I think you were going to say
No,
something.
well, like you said, like focused learning, and it's crazy because we moved back into a city from a suburb, but even in the suburb, the average class was 32 kids per class, 32 kids to one teacher. We went to a private school over here just to kind of figure out. We actually had a kid down the street who's in 7th grade, homeschooled, and they're making the transition. And she said the mother said she looked at it, 35 kids would have been the average in her class. So we said, what school are you going to? They gave us the name. We checked it out. We went on the tour of that school. And when the teacher goes, she goes, it's 28 kids. I'm like, 28 kids in the class? She goes, oh no, 28 kids in 7th grade. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
I'm like,
there you go.
So, but it's like, and then they started going down the curriculum, and like they're not and I'm not saying it's comparable to homeschooling, but
go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
So in Massachusetts we have MCAS. So a lot of kids they can't go to the next level if they don't pass the test. Half these kids don't know how to do the test. So I think the passing rate is something like 25%. So
wow.
My grade was the first grade to take it is like the beta testing. No one in my class could do it. Everybody failed the entire test. Like the entire student body failed the test. And to this day, and that's the problem with public school out here, is they educate based off MCAS, not what the actual curriculum should be. So you guys are in New York. I guarantee if you guys came here based off your curriculum and our curriculum, you guys are probably light years ahead of us.
Every school district is different. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, my daughter just she's going out to a technical school right now for her last 2 years of school, and she's in culinary, and there's 7 kids in her class. And if she was back at home, there'd be 22 in her class. And it's just, and she's going to learn a lot more different stuff than anywhere else.
And I was going to say, everybody learns different. I know the three of us were similar, but we learn in a different capacity. Even male and female, a lot of times our brains function differently. And thank God a parent is usually able to, and I'm not saying all parents are cut out for it, because that's not true either, but being able to see how this person learns, you can instigate or let them see the world through that lens.
Or if you're excelling in something, you can actually focus on that, expand on that.
But when you also can find a school like that, Josh, where your kid can, it's like, oh yeah,
focus attention.
28 kids in all of 7th grade. It's
and even in culinary, 7 compared to 20 something. It's different, because how on earth, and you can't blame the teachers. It's not the teacher's fault. How are they supposed to, one person teach 35 kids? How?
And each
it's a lot.
learns differently. Going back to that, it's like,
I mean, and the interesting part for homeschool, I guess it's different styles, but Mom never really, we took standardized tests. In New York, you have to prove that you're at your grade level or better. And they kind of held homeschoolers to a higher standard because they just were itching for an excuse to be like, your kid is behind. So you had to score well. Even amongst your peers, you had to do really well. So we would take tests, and Mom would never let us know really if we were doing good, bad, indifferent. She just was like, I care about your character. Don't worry about your grades. And she goes, work on your character, and the grades will come later. And it was like, are we dumb? Are we doing up that? No, so when it came time to take the ACTs and SATs, we were pleasantly surprised. We're like, well, I guess we're not as we thought we were. Because
that's smart though, because you take that pressure of the test, because you're so worried about, I got to do good.
And I think that's why a lot of kids do poorly in tests, is because they're nervous to take the test. If you are more indifferent to it and like, it's just a test, you're going to do better. But I think a lot of kids, the reason why they test poorly is because they're stressing themselves out. Like, oh, this test matters so much. And all the things that they've learned goes right out the window. And it's actually just the style of the test. It's like SAT and ACT. You don't have to be good at it. Just be good at test taking. And that's, God, for have mercy.
Is good at
I studied probably like 2 weeks before it, because it was like, this isn't covering anything. This doesn't judge who.
You watch cartoons.
He is so annoying like this. He can do this. And we'll take different tests. I would study flashcards, right, Jen? We flashcards, notes. This guy studying between cartoons and ace a test, and you'd be like, you
got it.
But it was just, I didn't like the fact that tests were putting people in this box of intelligence. And it was like, I know a lot of people who didn't score well on this test, but believe it or not, physiology, medicine, they could be great doctors. The way that they care, the way that their mind works, they make a great doctor because of the stupid test. They're never going to see that. Or maybe someone's an engineer, and because of certain, it doesn't.
There's so many different levels of intelligence.
To try to balance out human intelligence in just a set test. I mean, it would have to be so well-rounded and so difficult to do. Human intelligence is just very unique, in my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right, but
so many different levels.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
So we got my last question on homeschooling, and then I'll let Scott take over. So through high school, and this is what I'm curious about, since all three of you were homeschool, what was it like socializing? So going out to the movies or dances,
we're terribly shy and introverted, and we can't stand.
Well, actually, it's funny. So a few people, that is a typical question, and a lot of times we would be talking with someone for about 15, 20 minutes, and we joke with them and be like, well, what do you think? And they'd be like, oh, well, I guess okay.
But we also did martial arts. We also taught martial arts. Sunday school. We were just
traveled a lot with mom and dad and did other things. It's not like we were locked in a closet and
socialized.
Here's some
But unfortunately, I mean, there are the horror
stories of kids that they don't leave the house. They don't have extracurriculars. And if you want your child to be well-rounded, you need to give them the opportunity. And now, if it was nowadays, I would be able to go play football. I would be able to go play soccer, whatever sport. But back in the day, we weren't allowed to because of insurance in the school district. I wanted to play football. I wasn't allowed to, so we did martial arts instead, which was still fun. Got some of that aggression out. It was a good time.
Mom and dad went, hey guys, you're all going right here.
So we weren't allowed to play those sports as in the school sports, but we were allowed to go and compete and do fights and down south and out of the country and just tournaments. And it was a good time. It was a good experience, and you had to perform in front of many people on stage. So it forced you to get over any shyness you might have.
We
martial arts too for a while.
We expect to see some of that footage.
I don't know.
I think if you go to Karate Kid 2, they're probably in it. Probably, JC.
I hope not.
I'm gonna find you in there, Jared. Don't worry.
So back then, there was. I mean, it sounds like it was pretty just normal. You just didn't go to school. And the reason why I asked this is because I know people there's this cloud over homeschooling, and I think I'm a big pro for it. But for you guys, it was no different than going to a different school district and then meeting up at the center of downtown or football or Sunday school.
Pretty much. It was just.
We're big proponents of homeschool. I mean, we had a great experience, and again,
but
not saying
there are some children that did not have a great experience. Like we know some people that
weren't
just
socialized, or it's quite cringy. You're like, oh no, you didn't get
socialized. It's like your parents didn't let you out of the house at all, did they?
No, you were under a rock. Yeah, and it was like, oh no. So that does happen.
And you will be. I mean, we're quirky and weird. We
or academically, the parent is like, you need to get 100 on it. Our parents were just the unicorns. I mean, we always say we were parent privileged. Our parents, again, absolute unicorns. They were just like, you don't have to do everything everyone's doing. Like
we were definitely blessed with some great parents who were willing to make the sacrifice to homeschool because it's not easy. Sacrifice. It's not. Your kids are around constantly. I'm not gonna lie. God, I don't know how our parents did it. But they did, and there's a certain level that you understand in your mind, no matter what you do, no matter what you achieve. You can say thank you a million times. You could put them up in a mansion. You could do whatever, but it's never really going to
be
enough to take back the time that they sacrificed for you. Yeah. And as a child, you grow up realizing it as you mature. Yeah. As you're little, you don't get it, and then as you get older, you're like, wow, that was some sacrifice.
Parents sacrifice a lot.
Lord. Above and beyond the Call of Duty.
So thank you, parents. Thank
you.
Wow. Well, no, honestly, but I see it now. So the family dynamic over there, it's not just you guys. I mean, that sounds like it was mom, dad, everybody.
And they came from pretty rough backgrounds on both sides of their family. There was just dad was a bunch of
Dysfunction.
Russian Jewish gangsters, and mom's side was a bunch of lumberjack, reservation living, hard drinking, fighting.
Alcoholics and
so
drug
both sides were, and they met at college, and they just went from there, and they wanted to do something different.
Yeah,
they wanted to do something different.
They're like, chop it at the roots.
Let's start over again and see what happens. So that's what they did. God bless them. But yeah, no, we can't say that we had a bad experience. It was a good experience for us, but we're thankful. We're thankful and we're grateful.
Scott, back to you. Sorry, this is
sorry.
It's amazing story. No, you're fine, Josh. You're fine.
No, listen, I could do a whole hour on that. Like, I want to know where graduation was, where prom was, like the whole thing. I'll leave it for another time. But I mean, I'm fascinated by the whole thing.
Yeah, who was your prom date? There we go. We'll just throw it out there right now. Did you have a prom date? And
you had like 3.
Jared.
Wait, do you want to talk about something else, so Scott?
Yeah, talk about something else.
Well, I want to know how Jared asked his prom dates out.
I
All
didn't.
right, so here
I had 2, and there was 2
they
of
actually
them.
asked him.
Ooh,
It was
Jared.
their college graduation.
Player. Uh-oh.
You know this.
I was their chauffeur and bodyguard. That's pretty much
Nice.
what happened. And at first I was like, oh, everybody's so polite here. I don't really need to be a bodyguard. So we're on the dance floor, and then one of the guys was getting a little fresh, and I could see one of the girls one of my dates was feeling a little bit uncomfortable.
One of his dates.
One of my days. Yeah, I caught that too. I'm like, whoa.
Wow, Jared.
Wow.
Did you go together all at once, or did you meet him there?
Their bodyguard.
Yeah, we
Strictly
were
their
not
bodyguard.
there.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
sure,
that was it.
sure.
Yeah.
That was it.
So much for the weird homeschool kid he's bringing 2 dates to the prom. Like, Jesus Christ. Jesus.
2 dates to the prom. He's got a black belt. You know.
I should have used that
around,
excuse in high school. Hey, I'm not going to be your date. I'll be your bodyguard, though.
I'm waiting for him to say he had prom in the kitchen or something. This guy's bringing two girls to prom. Whoa.
It was a nice community college. It was very nice.
So go ahead,
Holy
Jared,
cow.
your story.
Sorry.
One of the, no.
There was some, the guy was trying to do some bumping and grinding, and I could see she wasn't comfortable with that. So I grabbed a hold of him and and he was like, oh! And I was a little bit larger, so I was like, did you like that? And he was like, no. And I was like, did you see her face? Do you think she liked it? And he was like, no. And I was like, then go dance over there. And so then he danced over there. And then they were happy, and they just did their thing, and I just danced over somewhere else.
Best bro.
I was just being a brother. That was literally it. I was not a mean, violent person. I was just being a brother.
No.
I love that.
Amazing. That's very good, Jared. I enjoyed that.
There was
At least I learned more today. Okay, I learned a lot today now.
More than you wanted to know.
Not totally, but we're good.
Oh dear.
Oh, we'll do 2.0, and I'll ask you 10 more questions.
We'll have to do 2.0 another
We're
time.
not talking about landscape anymore. That's out the window. That's done. We've done that. We've heard the story a million times. J&J landscape. Now we want to get into the roots.
We're gonna go deep in 2.0. Okay.
Landscapers are just, in a sense, so well rounded. Like everyone has something else they're doing, or like the landscaping community. It's really salt of the earth.
It's one of the
just
most
filled
amazing
with
communities you can
entrepreneurs. And yes, it's an amazing community. It really is.
With people who care, just down to earth. They're taking care of the earth. It's very old school. It's just it is a great industry.
And sometimes it chooses you. Yeah.
Our big joke is it's like, hey, something terribly drastic or horrendous must have happened in your life if you became a landscaper.
We're like, what happened to you?
What happened? Tell us the story. And the crazy part is,
who hurt you?
Who put dirt on your head? There we go.
Yes,
That's how it starts.
It was at that moment that Jared realized he wanted to enter landscape.
I need to plant these plants, not hold on to them.
Yes.
The whole industry is just trauma bonding through our podcast and geo expos. Like,
I am now one with the plant. I am.
So, guys, how did landscaping choose you guys?
How did it find you?
It just chose me.
Right? It does.
Just out of blue, really. I always hated cutting the grass when I was younger. I hated going out and doing it, and that was one of my chores that I had to do every week, and I hated doing it. And I got to my senior year, and after my senior year, I already had like a graphic job where I was doing graphic work. And my uncle was like, "Hey, you want a job? You want to make some good cash? Work outside?" And And I said, sure. And then I got into it. And as soon as I got into it, I'm like, dude, this is definitely which way I want to go. And I just kept, it was like, okay,
Yep.
this is my plan. I'm going this way.
Grow as you go.
Yep.
Yep.
And it picks you.
Yeah.
It's like, I choose
all
you.
gardening puns intended.
They're like, it's like Pokemon. It's like, I choose you, Scott.
Yep.
Scott,
Yep. Yep, that's what it was, and I was like, okay, well, this is how I'm gonna learn. So
I had to convince landscaping to pick me.
JC, so you actually volunteered for this?
No,
I think he did.
It's because I wasn't good at anything else. I had no other
Stop
choice.
it.
You are too.
No, that's not true.
We don't believe that for 1 minute. But go ahead, tell us the story.
No, honestly, yeah, it's just something I always felt I was good at doing, and I enjoyed it, and it was a good stress reliever, and it felt good, and yeah, I don't know, just kind of rolled with it.
Nice.
So in a way,
Josh,
it did
talk
kind of
through
find
you.
you.
Yeah.
What's that?
It did find you in a way.
Yeah, I had to do a lot of searching.
It was hidden behind a trade. Hidden in the hedgerow.
Yeah.
No, Josh. Let's see.
Josh, your turn. How did it choose you?
I was poor. I needed money. There
you go.
No, honestly, I had no intention of doing this. This wasn't in like the cards for me at all. I was in automotive most of my life.
Wow.
Automotive management at the end, dealership management. I had gotten laid off and not sure what I wanted to do. I got a severance package. I was unemployment, so I had some time to kind of play with it. I wanted to open my own auto repair shop. The cost of it was just astronomical. Like it was like over 150,000 just to get in the door, and to get in the right area was like there was no way. So I'm starting to run out of money, and I go to my wife like, I don't know what to do. She goes, well, you always talked about landscaping and stuff. I'm like, oh, I worked with excavation companies and stuff when I was younger. I'm like, but I've never cut grass. What do you mean? So I lived in Boston. We had postage stamps, and the landlord took care of it. It was nothing. It was like asphalt gardens, And so I go, you know what? Let me give it a shot. I'm just gonna try it. Let me see if I can get customers. So I went out that February, and I don't own anything. I don't own a weed whacker. I don't know mower. I don't know backpack blower. At this point, I've never even turned on a commercial mower. Never mind, ran with one. So finally, I go on the Facebook group page, and it's the whole, hey, small family business, kids, we're in the area. Boom. Within like a week, 20 customers. Okay, shit. How am I going to cut this grass? Never cut a grass before. And I'm thinking, all right, if I get two 21-inch mowers and two guys and just go back and forth. So I'm going around, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I got a 48-inch snapper mower. I bought it off the guy. I rented a U-Haul. I had no idea how to get it into the U-Haul. I didn't know how to drive it. So I'm like, can you do this for me? He was like, you don't know how to use that? He's like, what do you do? I said, oh, I got a landscape company. It's like, what? And from there, it evolved into something it blossomed right up into something that I didn't expect. I played with it thinking that this was just going to be a way to make money. That year, I made some really good cash. I made some good connections. I was like, wow, this is cool. Let me do this until I figure out what I want to do. And then I was like, I just want to mow and do basements and mulch. And then it turned into a lot of people asking me for pavers and construction. It's like, I don't do that. I don't do that. Then I got sick of saying I don't do that. I kind of had a little bit of background for the company, and then it just blew up. And now we do like predominantly residential hardscape and new development construction. So
and how long ago did you start?
This is 7 years, only 7 years. Nice. So 7 years, but I'd say the first 3 years, there was no direction, even in that it was, like I said, it was more or less like, it was just like, what am I going to do? What's the next thing? Like, I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life. And then like, I started seeing people, I'm like, wait, if there's these companies like Brightview and Case that are multi-million-dollar companies and they're staying afloat, there's money in this somewhere. Like there really is. I just got to find that. And I wanted a business since I was little. The first place I worked in a garage, my uncle had an auto repair shop. So I was like, I want a business. And I can tell you right now, we're on a union job right now, and these guys are talking about $47 an hour, $80 an hour. I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it for a job that paid me $60 an hour, because you know what? The freedom. I have two kids, and since I started this job, if I need to go somewhere, I'm going somewhere.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that before.
Yeah.
I missed out on so much because I had to be at that job, and that job was almost like my identity because I was there 60 hours a week. So this to me was like, this was almost like a blessing. Like, all right, cool. It's not just the money, it's the quality of life.
Yeah. Amen to
Very
that.
true. Very,
That's
very
right.
true.
That's right.
Very true.
Well, I think same for us though. That was
How you said your start, that I think actually happens to quite a few of us.
Yeah, it's
You know that you're like, all right, we got to put some food on this table,
and
'cause
out of
there's not gonna be
necessity,
food.
right? Out of necessity, like okay.
So you get creative real fast, and you get skilled real fast, and it just kind of, again, it finds you, and then you're like, you know what, this isn't as bad. I hated this at first. We all had different
and we were
plans.
all thinking of ways like we're gonna get out of this in 3 years or 5 years. And then we said, all right, let's stop playing games. Let's actually
take it seriously.
Let's actually make this thing work and be successful. Because we had always wanted a family business or some type of business when we were younger as well. That was always
entrepreneurial
a goal, right?
Yeah.
And we always loved business. Like that was always a passion. And so
Would we have picked this business? No, but it was there.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
and thank God now we've met all of you lovely
we would have met you guys.
So many more.
Well,
Look at the tapestry of life.
Of
and it's
lovely
just
humanity.
Yes, it's beautiful.
I think a big thing, like, and even for me when I looked at it, it was one of the, let's say, easiest, cheapest industries to get in. I mean, I got everything off Craigslist within a week for probably under like $300.
Yeah.
And then I found a trailer, and I'm in this '99 Chevy Tahoe that's the family truck, pulling it around, shoving leaf bags in the back of that thing. And but I also think that's why when they look at the statistic of like how many lawn care businesses fail, I think a lot of guys get into it just to be in it to make that cash, and a lot of guys jump out. But then people like all of us realize, wow, there's actually there's money to be made.
There's opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is a professional industry.
Yeah, we're trying to bring professionalism to the industry.
That's what we,
exactly.
Absolutely.
And it's like in making sure your team gets paid a worthy wage that they can provide for their
your
families.
team can actually make a living doing this and have a quality of life. Like, thank God we're able to you can make sure and force the guys to go on vacation. And it's like, don't worry, we all cover for each other so we can spend time with family. And you can make a livable wage, and you don't have to be stressed out like, oh, I need another job. If you can make a full-time landscape, because you guys know, in the Northeast, it's seasonal sometimes because who knows what the winter will bring. So it's nice being able to have someone who can be in the green industry full-time and be able to take their job seriously and get some rest for the season to start again and be able to take care of their families and not worry about it. That's a goal. That's a goal. And we're getting better every year. And again, there's potential. There's potential. And what's so nice is everybody communicates. We have competitors that are also friends, and if something goes wrong with their stuff, we're going to try to help them. And if our stuff goes down, they're going to try to help us, and that's our competition. Yeah. It's weird, but I don't know how is it in Mass?
It's cutthroat, but it's very cutthroat.
It is cutthroat up here as well, but
we only cut the throats of those who are in that little group that helps each other. If you're not in that little group, it's.
I think what you guys are doing. Yeah, like the way you explained it, it's that work, it's that culture in your work life. Like in this industry, that doesn't happen. It's go, make the money. You're just the next guy. Yeah. But when you start treating these guys like people, because they have issues. Everybody has shit they go through.
Yep.
Like I have guys that like you can tell they're having a bad day. It's like, you good? Like you want to just shoot the shit about it real quick? That goes so far.
It does
with someone because they go, oh, you give a shit? Yeah, well, you come in here, we're with each other 40, 50 hours a week. Why not? You know, and that's something that's very rare what you guys are doing, and especially in the Northeast, I'll tell you, because it's a dime a dozen with people. It's a rotating door with employees, and that's a lot of it. I mean, it goes both ways too.
It does, and I mean,
that's the thing, cultivating the environment.
Thank God we've been very blessed, and we did go through that rotation. Like we were going through people pretty quick, and it's. Hire slowly, fire quickly. It's not for everyone, this line of work. It just isn't. But the team that's here now, a lot of it is from like Arturo's almost like 10 years. He was with us from the beginning, and it's his brother-in-laws. And then They're like, and it's just
he's like,
it's
hey, I
familiar.
got this business. Let's come on with me.
And it's just
Yeah.
nice to have a great solid team. And again, it's unusual because I believe the turnover, even for bigger landscaping businesses, like the max you're getting out of someone is 5 years, no matter what you do. And then they move on, unfortunately. But thankfully, it's moving into a professional stage where hopefully, as all of us are getting better and growing, you can sustain that person for far longer than just simply 5 years, if they're willing. And there's different chain of command. Give them opportunity to grow, and they get a piece of the pie, and then you just get to step back more and more as your team is flourishing. Own your business instead of just giving yourself a job.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
That is the goal. Well, I hate to end it on that note because there's so much more to go on. So we're gonna have a 2.0 eventually.
I know.
We're gonna have to have a 2.0. Okay, and Josh wants to hear more about your homeschooling, so I guess we're gonna definitely have to go on that. So we're probably gonna have a 3.0. So just to let everybody know.
That is if everyone wants us back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We'd love to have you guys back. Definitely. We can get you in anytime. Okay. So,
who gives a shit about the people listening? We're good right here. We'll just have fun.
out there, okay?
We don't care about listenership.
Yeah.
No, guys. No.
Anybody listen? There's tons of people that listen, and
Josh really cares.
So
yeah,
Josh cares. Don't listen to him. Okay, if you're listening now, don't listen to him.
Yeah,
he's got his little sides, but it's all right, Josh. I want to thank all you guys for listening. Thank you, J&J, for being on. Thank you, Josh,
for having us.
For being on also. Thanks, guys. Keep listening to Landscaping to the Point on all your podcast forms, and keep watching us. Like it, comment, have fun, guys. Thank you guys for being on. See you guys later.
Woohoo! Bye. See you next time.